What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. Today's video is about what makes people a star, what makes them successful in mixed martial arts. And as you can see with my little subtitle, Why Authenticity Matters, you might have guessed already that what I'm going to talk about today is authenticity. I've talked about this many times on the channel in terms of what brings out star quality, what brings out somebody that we like to hear in interviews is usually their ability to just be themselves, to be uninhibited, to be honest, and to give their true opinions, even if they might ruffle some feathers. TJ Dillashaw recently has become such a fan favorite on the Jackson Pod because of this ability where he just feels totally unencumbered by any sort of judgments or outside perspectives. He just speaks his mind. And you might say, some of you guys might say, well, what about the guys like Colby Covington or even Henry Cejudo, the king of cringe, who put on these acts? There are some exceptions to the rule, but Colby Covington is one example where for me personally, I thought that part of the shtick back in the day, part of the appeal was he was being so silly and outlandish that it was almost like he was playing into the joke that it was an act. I don't think that anymore. And now I think he's lost track of what he's trying to do. But that was my take back in the day. He used to wear these really ridiculous, terrible suits, like that big bright orange suit. It was kind of like he was taking on the Dumb and Dumber character to some extent. I don't know. So it kind of worked for some time. And then obviously that fell short as well. Henry Cejudo obviously became the king of cringe, started making all those videos. I don't think that ever really worked. Now we look at somebody like Conor McGregor, who's very inflammatory, who talks a lot of trash. But the reason why it works so well in his case, not only is he super funny, super witty, but that's really him. I think we can see that now, even as the famous continues, not even fighting, but it's still that same personality is coming forward. So I think whether he fooled us or not, I think everybody felt as though that was Conor's sincere and real personality coming through when he was engaging in all of that trash talk. But regardless of these examples, and regardless of even what was maybe worked a little bit better in the past, I think that this is the way that people are moving in all walks of content and entertainment. You see that we're moving more towards, for example, podcasts, away from jump cuts. People just want to see raw authenticity. And that's me speaking as an MMA fan. That's what I want to see. Now, of course, I love the beast and I love the drama, and that makes it more exciting and that makes the stakes higher. But it's got to be real. I don't want to see the WWE. You know, guys like I think Ariel Helwani and other folks who love the WWE and love that old school wrestling. Yeah, maybe there's still people out there like that, but I think overwhelmingly the majority of UFC fans, we want to see the real deal. If people are going to have a debate and a discussion or an argument or talking beef, I don't want it to be manufactured. That actually annoys me. For example, if I found out after the fact that Patty versus Ilya, that whole beef was manufactured and they're cool, I'd be so pissed off. It's not what I want to see. So anyways, this is a really cool clip where they talk about this and they actually get into this topic. And Henry Cejudo, obviously the proponent of putting on an act and talking trash, even when there's not real beef or real heat, he gives that perspective. And I think Dominick Reyes responds back with exactly my sentiments in terms of, hey, keeping it real, wanting to feel good about himself at the end of the day. But also, I think that's what us fans, what us people on the planet really want to see and what really attracts us. By the way, Dominick Reyes is so underrated. He even calls himself a very underrated fighter in this interview, which I think is pretty funny. But like, he actually is underrated, not only for his fighting skills, but also just for his personalities and his ability as a star. I think if you listen to him, one of the things that will resonate with you is exactly that. He is authentic. He is himself. He will say it is how it is, and you got to appreciate that. So anyways, let's get into the clip right now. We're going to hear this dialogue as Henry begins to give, in my opinion, misguided advice. But I know he's not trying to do any harm. He's obviously leveraging his experience as a fighter and I guess things that have marginally worked for him in the past. So here we go.
So if you had to really pick the guy that you want to fight,
I want to fight
would
Khalil.
be Khalil.
I already called him out. Everything, trying to do my due diligence. I don't know what I have to do or say or whatever, but I want to fight Khalil. Like,
no, but I'll be honest with you, Dominic. I think it's more of that because you are a humble dude. And, you know, you do carry you are a genuine guy. But I think sometimes a little bit of what stops people from getting to the top a little bit sooner is there's not enough trash talk. There's not enough.
You're saying nice guys finish last.
Yeah, pretty much.
I understand what you're saying.
Did you see what I'm saying?
I understand. But I did get there by doing my way the first time, right?
Okay, so here's where I think Henry's missing the mark. It's like you look at the people that have been successful, and maybe it is some of the people that have been a bit more vocal that have talked a lot of trash. Obviously, we have guys on the other side of the fence that haven't talked trash and have been wildly successful. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. I mean, we could name so many fighters that fall, Robert Whittaker, that fall into this category. I think what is happening is Henry is making an observation and he's mistaking correlation with causality, if you will. So it's not really that it's always the trash talking that leads to these bigger results. Those are the people I think that are primarily engaging in really good trash talk. That's their personality. They're combative by nature. So that's them actually stepping in and being themselves. Now, on top of that, their true nature happens to be maybe a bit more entertaining because of the trash talk, but it has to be grounded in reality first. There's other guys like Khabib. Well, Khabib actually, his trash talk was actually pretty good, but there's other guys that have been wildly successful without the trash talk. And I think it's because they've been comfortable in their own skin. They're still not shy. They're still vocal. They're still not willing to shy away from people talking trash to them, but they're authentic in and of themselves. If you look at, I think it's called Maslow's hierarchy or something, in hierarchy of needs, right? You can kind of say it have a similar type of foundation and level of needs in MMA as well. And I think the underlying principle, the most important, you could say trash talk's important. You could say fight style. Well, let's get away from fighting. Let's just talk about what you're saying versus what you're actually doing in the octagon. You could say that, sure, trash talking or being inflammatory or being funny or whatnot are all great. But for any of that to work, in my opinion, by and large, you've got to have a foundation of authenticity. So that's where I think Henry misses the mark. If it's in your nature to be combative and to talk trash, by all means, just be you. But that's the advice. Just be you. And that's kind of what they get into next.
And then I am knocking dudes out. I've never been knocked out before. Dustin Jacoby was never knocked out before. That was the first of my knockouts. And then now Krylov was never even dropped before, ever, until I knocked him out cold. So I don't know. Some people said I made it look too easy. A lot of people said I made it look too easy actually against Krylov. Well, you made it look too easy. What do you mean? It's like, it's the UFC. It's just not easy, bro. I'm fighting one of the most dangerous guys in the world. You're telling me this shit looks too easy? Like, what? All I could do is all I could do, though, right? And I want to keep my soul, man. I don't want to give up who I am for some cash.
I think this point right here also gets overlooked so much. I made a video earlier in the week or last week or whatever about Renato Moicano turning down the UFC money. And people were pretty critical on that video, but on that stance in general of why he would do that. Oh, well, the money's going to get reallocated. You're not doing anything. They thought he had an ulterior motive to get on the good side of the UFC. What about just feeling good on the inside? And again, this is the second time that this point is coming up. Dominick Reyes, it may not be always the best outcome, right? But Dominick Reyes, it's important to him to just feel good about himself. Why is that just an overlooked consideration? You know, he wants to, when he says keep his soul, he's talking about being authentic to himself. He wants to be himself. And if that means he's not going to get the absolute best results, he's okay with that. Why is that such a foreign concept? We obviously do make those decisions all the time, just in smaller degrees. We don't engage in crime, the vast majority of us, because maybe we could make a little bit more cash doing so, but we choose not to do so. Nobody's calling into question that decision, but this is just that same exact math, that same exact calculation, just on a smaller scale.
So if I have to just keep knocking fools out, even if they're going to put me against lower guys or whatever they got to do, then I'm going to just keep earning my way to the top, man.
Damn, Kamaru.
Does
that make me feel like shit, dude?
Yeah, I mean, should. The way you be coming at me, yeah, she trash talk, yeah. No, I
release it.
But I could just tell the truth, and people could call it trash talking too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't call it talking shit if it's the truth.
Yeah.
You're only talking shit if you're just fabricating or just running around a story and making things up. But if you're saying truthful things that are absolutely 100% true, it's not talking shit. It just hurts their feelings because the truth hurts.
Right. I think that's being honest. I think that was a place where I struggled earlier in my career, is I struggled to kind of find my voice when you're coming up in a time where
Your division
Connor's, division stacked, and then Connor is
mm-hmm. This is what we want, right?
Connor's the
we want
main
Connor.
man, the poster child.
Yep.
And so,
give us a Conor McGregor. Give us a Conor McGregor.
Don't do.
But that's it right there, right? It's conflation right there. It's what is it that is making Conor a star? You think the trash talk, you think it's the jokes, it's all these things, but they're missing the foundation. The foundation is he's being himself up there, out there on the stage. I mean, I don't know. I know some people think it's an act, but if it's an act, it's a really good act, in my opinion. At least it's such a good act that people bought it. That's in my opinion. So it just so happened that he was able to be himself, and that version of himself was also hilarious, was also inflammatory, it also got headlines, got people going against him until he pulled off the seemingly impossible by beating Jose Aldo, and then going on to win the lightweight strap, become a double champ, right? It was all of that together that made him such a superstar. But don't miss the underlying principle of authenticity. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. And that's what I wanted to get across. I do like to get into the psychology sometimes of myself, of people like me, of all of us MMA fans and UFC fans. And hopefully this can be informative for other fighters as well who are on the rise. I know we work with amateur fighters and professional fighters at Fusion Fight League as well, who are hoping to go to the UFC one day. And I think it's important for them to recognize you don't have to have some sort of a character that is similar to Conor McGregor. In my opinion, absolutely not. I don't think that it is all. In fact, I think that's bad. I think that's missing the boat completely. Just get into your own skin. And if anything, you don't need to be coached in any way. You don't need to write scripts or rehearse things. What I think you should do is just get lots and lots of practice speaking publicly. And that allows your anxiety levels to come down and allow yourself to really be who you are. It's the same thing if you're going out and you're trying to hit on a girl at a bar, right? Like if you're going out and most of the time, if you don't have a lot of experience with that, talking to women or whatnot, or you just have a lot of insecurities, you're going to come off super anxious, super nervous. It's just not going to be the true version, the best version of yourself that you're putting forward and to give this first impression, right? But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. And people might say, oh, you're really good now at talking to girls. It's not that. It's like you're just presenting yourself accurately. You can be yourself, be relaxed, and they're getting that right snapshot of you in that moment. And that's what it is. Same principle applies here. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say in this video. Let me know if this idea resonates with you as well. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And that's all we got for you today. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.